New Year's, Halloween, and National Eat a Hoagie Day. Those are the kind of riveting topics you can expect to be covered on this podcast, but not necessarily in that order. Good morning, all. My name is Noah Mandow, and welcome to the very first episode of the National Holiday Podcast, an authentic audio adventure that I will be delivering to you for the next 365 days. The point of this podcast is to bring light to all the fun and easily forgettable holidays that ravish our calendar in hopes of adding a little enjoyment to your day as you celebrate such festivities as National Garlic Day, Drive Your Corvette to Work Day, and National Dogs in Politics Day. I mean, how relatable are those, right? As there are only 4 holidays worth mentioning today, and as this is the first episode, I thought I'd spend some time giving a little bit of background as to why I'm doing this and what to expect over the next year. I also want to say that I wrote a lot of notes for this episode, so if it sounds blocky and like I'm reading a script at some points, it's probably because I am. But that is subject to change very quickly as I get a hang of how I want to go about this all. So about a month ago, I was in a video call with some friends, and one of them stated that it was their birthday. So instead of wishing them a happy birthday like a normal, sensible human being, I decided to look up what national holidays they shared their birthday with, and it turned out to be a really fun experience, because if you haven't noticed, by such days as Eat a Hoagie and Dogs in Politics, it gets pretty nifty sometimes. So yeah, after having a good laugh and going through everyone else's birthdays and then bringing this topic up again the following week, my one friend suggested that I make a podcast about this. I don't know if they meant it seriously or as a joke. But I took it seriously and chose September 30th as my starting date for reasons which we will soon discuss. So the month of September sped by, and I continuously remembered here and there about the idea, but never actually did anything to prepare, and well, we're here now, so here it goes. Basically, the point is to cover a series of national holidays on any given day, as well as some celebrity birthdays and other memorable events. I may add other segments throughout the year if I think about it. We'll see how it goes. Each episode will hopefully range between 20 and 30 minutes, but this really depends on how many holidays on any given day occur. Also, although the first week will probably just be me speaking into the void alone as I figure out the inner workings of this year-long project, I intend on having guests and quote-unquote professionals on to help fill the awkward silences that may occur, which you will never notice because they will be edited out in post. Another thing to mention is the fact that this is not a top-grade microphone, so any schmucksing that I do or S sounds may be a little bit rough. I may eventually purchase something better to use. That all just kind of depends on how much money I want to put into this, because at the moment it's just kind of a passion project, and just want to kind of see where it goes, so we can compare in a year's time once this is over to see if I've actually upped my game at all. With that being said, there will also not really be any images throughout the podcast, just one still shot, I guess, of items that hint at what is going to be covered today or any day, which will also then be in the thumbnail of the video. If I decide to put a lot more effort in and find the time to do so, then they might get a bit more exciting than that, but that's all I'll have for now. And so seeing that we're already over the 3-minute mark, let's dive right in. So first off is the reason why I'm starting a year-long podcast on September 30th and not January 1st. And that's because it's International Podcast Day. A term coined way back in 2004, podcasting was a term first used by a journalist for The Guardian, Ben Hammersley. So thank you, Ben. If we didn't have that word, I'd have a different abbreviation for this podcast and wouldn't have even said the word podcast right there. So there we go. Hats off to you. He also offered up the terms audio blogging and guerrilla media, but podcasting is the one that caught on and was supposed to be a mushed term of iPod and broadcasting. So I guess I have to thank Apple as well, but seeing as Ben's net worth is about $100,000 and Apple's is, just a little bit more than that. My thanks go out to you, Ben. You deserve it, and compared to Apple, you need it. So Wikipedia then states that the term was first used in the audio blogging community when this guy Danny Gregory introduced it to this dev mailing list. But it's kind of confusing because I don't know why the community would be referred to as audio bloggers, as that wasn't the term that was chosen. Podcasting was. So I guess I had a short run. I don't know. I just Google these things. I'm in no way an expert. Speaking of, though, I have actually listened to a fair share of podcasts, so you could call me a little bit of an expert. Most of these are just various YouTubers talking nonsense for about an hour or so every week, but I have also recently started listening to a podcast called Night Vale, which is a spooky little podcast about a strange town and all the weird antics and cryptid kind of happenings that are going on. So I would recommend that. Maybe I should give recommendations on this podcast. That might be a good idea. So on National Brownie Day, I share the recipe that I use to make brownies or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. If I do something like that every day though, well, there's some days that the recommendations will be quite weird. But ultimately, I've never really been one for informative podcasts, which is weird because that's kind of what this is. But you know what they say. If you don't want to listen to something, make it for others to listen to instead. I don't know if anyone has ever said that before, but if so, awesome. And if not, well, that's my quote now. So take it or leave it. Next up, we have National Love People Day, and I'm now realizing that it's weird that the first holiday I mentioned was international, even though this podcast is called National Holidays Podcast, but it's too late. I already made the channel, and we're sticking with NHP. I like that as an abbreviation. It's nice. So, National Love People Day. Apparently, activities of this day include helping someone else, expressing your love with the arts, and being nice. I kind of figured that being nice is something that all days should encompass, but I guess it's like the purge. You can only be nice for 24 hours every year, until of course we get to 5 days from now, which is National Be Nice Day, but October 1 to 4th, better watch out. Those are not good days. So moving along, the Beatles released an iconic love song in 1967 titled All You Need Is Love, and then, ironically, possibly, 2 years later, John Lennon and Yoko Ono hosted a bed-in as a way to protest the Vietnam War and to highlight the need for peace. So, although this is a non-religious holiday, back in 2017, to commemorate this, and as a tribute to their founders, Lifeline Church in Chicago started an initiative to show unconditional love to God, yourself, and others, regardless of race, color, national origin, sex, age, or disability. But you know what that list doesn't include? Food preferences. Do you like chicken waffle burgers but your neighbor doesn't? Don't worry. You don't need to love them. Do you like pudding but one of your siblings detests it? I guess you can just disown them. Do you want to celebrate National Eat a Hoagie Day but your partner won't eat a hoagie? Well, I guess that relationship's over. Then next, we have International Translation Day, a day that pays tribute to those who translate and interpret languages and written works to help bring nations together. And to that, I think the only proper response is, which was me showcasing using another language by signing. That's pretty cool. But as this is a podcast, you can neither see that nor ever have proof that I actually did it. Now, before we go to the last holiday on the list, I'd like to take a moment to mention some celebrity birthdays. Normally this segment would come after all the holidays, but I wanted to move some things around for the sake of respecting the seriousness of our last holiday. I'm also realizing because of the timeline that this video will probably not be around 20 minutes. But that's fine. It's the first one. It can be a bit short. That's okay. Basically, this section, Celebrity Birthdays, involves me looking up which celebrities have birthdays today. And, okay, so what I hoped would happen is that I'd find a list and then state the first 3 celebrities and scroll down to find someone really obscure, but I actually don't know any of these top 3, and they're apparently the most famous celebrities for September 30th birthdays. So we got Maddie Ziegler, who's turning 18, Chantal Jeffries, 28, and Trevi Moran, 22. Okay, I'm gonna look these people up. Okay, apparently Maddie is an American dancer who was in Dance Moms and the 2021 release of West Side Story, so there you go. Chantal is an American model who wrote a song called Wait in 2018 and was in a couple movies that I've never heard of. And Trevi is an American singer. Okay, so a lot of America today. And okay. Speaking of America, I was going to pull up one of Trevi Moran's songs to see if I'd ever heard of it. And it's called Get Me Through the Night, and he's dressed up as an American flag, which clearly has more than 50 stars on it, so I guess accuracy has been thrown out the window. And the first word in the lyrics is one which I will not speak, as a way to keep this podcast family-friendly, until, of course, I have some extravagant guest on, and forget that I made this statement right now. So, going back to the list, T-Pain has birthday today. Happy birthday, T-Pain. I don't remember any songs that he wrote, but I do recognize that name. And we also have Bella Ramsey, who played Lyanna Mormont in Game of Thrones and is cast to play Ellie in the Last of Us show, which will be coming out next year. So there you go. I am expecting most of the top celebrities to be random TikTokers and streamers that I've never heard of on any given day, so I'm really going to mentally prep myself for the crisis that'll occur when I realize how out of the loop I am. But if you continue to listen to this podcast, you'll never be out of the loop. And that's my way to convince you to come back in the future. As one more little segment, I'll also read off 3 of Wikipedia's random events that happened on this date. Okay, so in 1541, Spanish conquistador Hernando de Soto and his forces entered Tula territory, which is present-day western Arkansas, and encounter fierce resistance. Ooh, okay, that sounds like I need to read more, but I will not. In 1888, Jack the Ripper killed his 3rd and 4th victim. Okay, there goes the family-friendly rating. 1991, Thomas Ruler, the German javelin thrower, was born. Nice, go Germany. It looks like he placed first, or I guess got gold, in the 2016 Rio de Janeiro Olympic Games. Got another gold in the 2018 Berlin European Championships, and got a 3rd gold in 2018 Ostrava for the Continental Cup, all of which were for javelin throwing, as makes sense, as that is what he is titled. I also just remembered that basically, so every Sunday I am going to state one day, or I guess one holiday for each of the days of the following week. But because this is the first podcast and it's on a Thursday, I'm just going to announce one for the next 3 days. So we have something to look forward to. So October 1st, National Fire Pup Day. October 2nd, National Name Your Car Day. And October 3rd, National Kevin Day. That's right. This Sunday, it's National Kevin Day. I don't know what that means, but we'll find out together on Sunday. And I also just want to make an account for the fact that in looking up some of these days and just perusing on the websites that I've been using, at some point in the next year, we will be celebrating Chicken Boy Day. So it's a bit of a spoiler for you there, but yeah, I don't actually know if that's something to look forward to or not, because I don't know what it means, but we'll see. Now, something that I think is better to bring up now rather than later, as it is important now, is the fact that although I intend to have some fun with this podcast, especially once I get some others on here to talk with, the tone of each episode is really going to depend on the holidays that are mentioned on any given day. So putting my sense of humor and the constant mention of hoagies aside, this next holiday is actually quite serious. So today, September 30th, is the first ever National Day for Truth and Reconciliation here in Canada. Sharing its date with Orange Shirt Day, it is a day in which Canadians honor the lost children and survivors of residential schools. I'm going to read a few paragraphs from some articles I found, the links of which I will provide below the video, as I want to give some proper insight here. So, from the Government of Canada's website, on September 30th, we encourage all Canadians to wear orange to raise awareness of the very tragic legacy of residential schools and to honor the thousands of survivors. There were 140 federally run residential schools which operated in Canada between 1831 and 1998. The last school closed only 23 years ago. Survivors advocated for recognition and reparations and demanded accountability for the lasting legacy of harms caused. These efforts culminated in the Indian Residential Schools Settlement Agreement, apologies by the government, the establishment of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and the creation of the National Centre for Truth and Reconciliation. The Commission released its final report detailing 94 calls to action. The National Day for Truth and Reconciliation is a direct response to call to Action 80, which called for a federal statutory day of commemoration. And from Indigenous Corporate Training Incorporated, Orange Shirt Day is a movement that officially began in 2013, but in reality began in 1973 when 6-year-old Phyllis Webstad entered the St. Joseph Mission Residential School outside of Williams Lake, BC. Young Phyllis was wearing a brand new orange shirt for her first day of school, new clothes being a rare and wonderful thing for a First Nation girl growing up in her grandmother's care. But the mission oblates quickly stripped her of her new shirt and replaced it with the school's institutional uniform. While she only attended for 1 year, the impact affected Miss Webstad's life for many years. she was quoted saying, "I finally get it, that feeling of worthlessness and insignificance ingrained in me from my first day at the mission, affected the way I lived my life for many years. Even now, when I know nothing could be further than the truth, I still sometimes feel that I don't matter." So I know that for a first podcast, this is ending kind of on a somber note, but let's just remember the holidays of today are about taking the time to listen, finding ways to bring nations together by translation and reconciliation, and demonstrating acts of love to those around you. So I ask that you keep all these in mind as you go throughout your day. As will always be the case, if you would like to read up on any of the topics mentioned in today's podcast, links to the various websites and articles are provided below. And without further ado, stay safe, stay kind, and you'll hear back from me tomorrow.